welcome back once again. Another edition of Inside the Headset, and here we are, week 14, and I'm with the head coach of the Blackman Blaze, Coach Philip Shadowens. 11-2, had a great game the other night on Friday night. You've had a chance to let the video resonate, as I like to say. What were some of the things that I guess you saw, other than just, we know it was a real tough battle, came down to about 4 or 5 plays like you said in the other media, but is there anything else that kind of jumped out at you, just like, wow, that's something that we can anchor to?
Well, just how hard our kids played. I mean, it was a game that took 48 minutes, and we kind of knew that going in, and that's been our focus throughout the playoffs. The next 48 is all you can concentrate on, all you can control, and we can always control how hard you play and how much passion you play with, and our kids played with a tremendous amount of passion. Didn't take a play off. You try to get the message, every coach does, to the kids, that it's going to come down to those three or four plays. You never know what 3 or 4 it's going to be, so you have to act like each play is one of those, and one of those 3 or 4 special ones. And I thought it came down to Friday night to the 3 or 4 special plays, and our kids stepped up to make plays, and that was the difference in the ballgame.
Friday night, before the game, there was a couple of people, including myself. I'll come on the record and say that I guess they thought somebody else would win. This guy named Adam Sparks, he said better lines, and Greg Pogue said playoff disservice, and Will Borthwick said -3.5, and then Joe Dubin, Tommy's boys, and Brad Hopkins said Wade, and then Oakland said bigger up front. That was Tom Krager. And then Randy Roth, Oakland in the trenches, and I thought on paper too, I'll be honest with you, Coach, come right out and tell you, I thought Oakland was going to be the one. And going into that, I mean, did you feel any underdog, or was you just saying, hey, look, man, I don't care what anybody says, I'm focused like normal, or, did anybody say anything to you?
I told Tom Krieger off the record on Wednesday, after we got through with our on-the-record interview, that we would win by 2 scores. And I truly believe that, because obviously studied a lot of video on Oakland. Felt like our kids knew they were going to win, and sometimes you can fake that. You can say all the right things and all that kind of stuff, but I think our kids knew they were going to win the football game, and I certainly felt like it was. We had some opportunities against them in our run game. Now, granted, we didn't plan on running the ball all night long. We didn't plan on it raining all night long. But I thought we could do some things in the run game that would cause them problems, and we ended up doing that. And we were the underdog, but I don't spend a lot of time worrying about stuff like that. That's just never been my MO. I mean, people doubt us. People doubt us again this week, and that's okay.
Tom Krager may doubt you.
Right, that's okay. That's okay. You got to pick somebody. I mean, everybody picked against us, and probably rightfully so. I mean, nobody been able to run the ball against Oakland. Nobody been able to really score against Oakland for the most part. We certainly couldn't do it the first time we played them. But I knew something that other people don't know about our kids.
And that's the part that makes it special. They haven't really got to see you enjoy the cutting up. I got a little bit of that on Friday night, the celebration and just, people hugging each other, the excitement for Blackman High School, and carry on into that. Just, people don't understand what's going on here and how special this is.
Oh, yeah, we got a special group of kids, and we have fun, and maybe everybody else does too, but the way we're going to do it always at Blackman is we're going to work really hard. And, I'm loud in practice and get after them and all those kind of things, but we're going to have fun. We only get to do this once in high school, and we're not going to put a lot of pressure on them on Friday night, because playing football is no pressure. Life is pressure sometimes. Having sick parents or grandparents and things going in your life, that's pressure. Playing football is not pressure, it's fun, and we're going to make sure our kids have fun. And I think that was evident Friday night.
But, in all actuality, both of you were happy to be at that point, but I think the frustration was, and not to go into the how this thing works, or I was born and raised in Kentucky, so for the Sweet 16 of basketball, they just throw them all in a hat and you draw out. And if you have, of course they have it all in Lexington, so there's not much travel. But at the same time, I believe in a little different. I believe throw them all in a hat. Let's see them out and see how they come out. But you guys both thought, hey, at the end of the day, we both feel like, and nothing against the other side of the water, but we feel like that we should both be meeting in Cookeville playing each other for the county for the purpose of that?
Well, sure. I mean, it felt like it had the kind of the feel of a state championship type of game as far as the amount of competition that it was, and really the build up to the game. Everybody kind of talked about the week 9 game. They started talking about that in week 1 of the season, but really in midway through the season, everybody thought this would be the quarterfinal game. And it was, and certainly obviously two of the best teams in the state, and you got to throw Maryville in there because they're undefeated, and they've won tons and tons.
And they deserve.
Absolutely, but even the other two teams on the other side, they've lost 4 games each, and obviously low seed. They were lower seeded in the playoffs, and nobody expected with either one of those teams to be there. But it's all about playing good at the right time. A lot of people said last week was the semifinal game, and this week against Maryville will be the finals. I don't buy that. First of all, because I think in 48 minutes. Anything can happen and anybody can win, and there's no bad football teams left playing football right now, and so we're exceptionally excited. We expected to win last Friday night against Oakland, and as I told our kids in practice, that game's over. It's it's a great memory, but that's all it is a memory, and it's not the ultimate memory that we want. It's not what we're looking for. It's not what our destination is. It's not what we've planned on. We never had that down as a goal. Beating Oakland in the quarterfinals was not a long season long-term goal. Our long-term goal from day one has been very simply to make it to Cookville and win a state championship. And to do that, you had to win those 48 minutes last Friday night. We were able to do that. Now we're focused on the next 48.
It's funny you say that. We do not talk any time before our interviews. I may just say I may ask about a kid or something, but we do not. And I usually don't carry that many props. But it's funny you say that. You was talking about what you say. Well, this year in the Kentucky Derby, not many people picked Orb. He paid $12.80 on a win ticket. But the funny thing about it, on a 4-horse superfecta, he paid $57,000 on a $2 bet. So nobody else knew either. Nobody else knows what will happen. On that day, at that time, that's what you're talking about. Let's magnify that a little bit more, because that's what makes it so special. That's what makes your heart pump. That's what gave most of those kids that feeling Friday night right after that game. It's a feeling you just can't get it again, can't you?
Right, and when you can't pretend it, it's something you can't make up and you can't force it. It's just something that you only get through athletics. You only get that type of feeling through athletics, and that's not going to. Hopefully, that's not going to be the pinnacle of anybody's life.
No, but it's a cool.
But it's an ultimate feeling that you get from competition, from knowing that you've worked exceptionally hard and that you kind of got paid for your work. You got paid with an opportunity to celebrate that with your lifelong friends in many cases as high school kids, and obviously as coaches we get to celebrate with one another and with our kids, and that's that's a special feeling. That's a thing that they'll remember the rest of their lives. They'll tell their kids about that one. But we hope we got a couple more chapters in this book, and we don't want that to be the most special celebration of the year. We got some other things we want to do.
All right. Let's start from 06 and run it up till now. You won it in 06, you won it in 07, Coach McDaniel won it in 08, correct? And then 09 it was White Station,
Sounds right.
And then Maryville won, or in between there. But at this level, Coach, Maryville's won it once or twice?
I think twice.
Twice. Okay, so he knows he's been there twice at this level. And you've been there
3 times, but he's won it twice.
He's won it twice, and you've won it twice at this level. I mean, take away the 6 to the 5, the 5 to the 6, it's half a dozen one another. But I mean, I'm
the highest level.
The highest level in the state, most students in your school and everything. So both of you really know the roadmap. You know the recipe it takes to go and cook up a state championship just like he does. So that's kind of square. Let's talk about what the Blaze will do. Here we are Tuesday. Walk the fans, the parents, kind of give us a feel of what we're going to be going, what you guys will do right up until you load that bus.
Well, we'll try not to catch pneumonia this week in the weather. First of all,
okay.
Yesterday was a tough day. We were outside for an hour and 40 minutes, and in the cold and the rain and the wet and all that stuff. Today, on Tuesday, it's once again raining and cold. It's supposed to snow. We'll be inside the gym for an hour and 45 minutes today with our practice. I just don't think we can go out and again today with the way the weather is. Tomorrow, Kids are out of school on Wednesday, obviously, so tomorrow we'll practice at 10, and as long as it's not raining, it'll be outside, and it'll be an hour and 40-minute practice roughly. Thursday on Thanksgiving is kind of what you talk about all year long, the opportunity to practice on Thanksgiving. We'll bring them up here, we'll feed them biscuits and milk and juice, and we'll go out and do our walkthrough at 9 a.m. We'll be done and gone by 10, so that everybody can go.
Copy of Andy Williams' Christmas carols in their pocket.
Everybody can go spend time, spend Thanksgiving with their family, after 10 o'clock. And it's the best of both worlds. You get to spend Thanksgiving with your football family, which we consider ourselves a family up here. And then you get to go spend it with your, real family, I guess, or your other family, and have Thanksgiving and
get a little Blackman get a little Blackman again at 6 o'clock, don't we? Little egg bowl.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Get Octavius Mathers against Mississippi State, and or Ole Miss against Mississippi State. But Octavius obviously get to play there, so we'll get to watch football on Thursday, and then we'll get here at 9:30, before 9:30 on Friday morning, and we'll feed our kids. We'll do walkthroughs. We'll eat lunch, and then we'll head to Maryville and go play 48 minutes in Maryville, and then we'll get back on the bus, and hopefully it'll be a 2.5-hour great bus ride.
Let's talk a little bit about this area. I like to talk a little bit about this area. A lot of people say this is a great place to play a little football. We take a lot of pride in 7 AAA. After all, it's all for the kids. We're all, like I said, I was trying to tell everybody, it's rivals now, but right now. Looks like Oakland and Blackman have created a little rival. It wasn't there 5 years ago.
Correct.
And so we look at it and we go to Riverdale and Blackman. It may have been a game, but now it's a rival since everything has kind of happened. Right. And Oakland and Laverne now kind of got a rival since this thing's milling around before you know it. Stewart's Creek will be in on it and everything, and this is the reason why I want to say it. Coach, in this area now, somebody ranks these youth football teams from all over, but this just kind of gives you in the 6 and up, so this 6-year-old, 6 and under, all right, 6 and under, sorry. You got East Memphis, so that's not from us, but Laverne is 2, Smyrna 3, Springfield, and Harrison. So 2 of them are within a good reach of us. And then 7 and under, you got Fulton, which is over Knoxville, and the Haywood Tomcats, Arlington, Smith County, and Bearden. So that tells you a little bit about that area over there. Then you move to 8 and under, Smyrna Bulldogs, Laverne, 1 and 2, Brentwood 3, and is that Kentucky? Yes, and then Cowan Gold Lions there, 5, and then you move on. And still, it goes, as you go through the list, 10 and under, Una Bears, which is right down the road. You coach several Una guys. Brentwood Blaze, East Hamilton, Goodlettsville, Memphis. Then it moves on. I'm just saying, Una Bears again, Catholic anyway, but this football is getting better all over this area as you think
sure,
about it.
Absolutely.
And you've got a youth football program, and talk a little bit about that. I do.
Right. We 2 years ago, last year I guess, we thought there was a need for a youth football program. It wasn't for Blackman High School football.
No.
It wasn't. And it's called Blackman because they use our facilities, and they use our practice field and our game field. They play their games here. They practice in the.
Which is a big undertaking.
Right, absolutely. They practice at the elementary school. They practice at the middle school. They practice around here. So big undertaking for all those things. And so it's called the Blackman Youth Football Program. Last year I think we had 275 or 80 boys. Roughly 100 cheerleaders, 90 cheerleaders, something like that. This year I think we got 320. Boys and about the same amount of cheerleaders, about 100. So we're over 400 students or 400 kids that we have the advantage of playing youth football here. It's my goal when I allowed, and I didn't start that league obviously, but I helped with the facilities
Sure.
and all those things. Our goal is to give the opportunity for more kids to learn what the game of football is about and to love it. And when they asked to use the facilities and all, I said, sure, there's certain things that have to be done. You can only practice in pads 2 days a week when school gets in. There's certain things that I think are important for youth football. And the league ain't been perfect by any means. In 2 years, it's still building. But you're talking about 320 boys that are playing football on Saturdays, and it's great for kids. It's a great opportunity for them to get to play in good facilities. The city doesn't put in a dime. Doesn't cost the city a dime, which we may ask at some point for some help with that.
They need to help.
But they don't help at all for that. it's an opportunity for kids to hopefully learn to love the game of football and teach them lessons that are going to help them in life. I mean, and it's not so much for Blackman High School football, because there's a lot of kids that are in our league that are zoned to Smyrna, zoned to Oakland, zoned to Sigma. It has nothing to do with that. It's about helping kids, and if we'll always focus on doing what's right for kids, then things will always be positive. You know, if you get yourself in the way and you focus on just helping this school or just one school, then I think that's the wrong thing. And so this league is about helping kids, giving them an opportunity to learn the game of football and to learn, teamwork and unity and all the things that will help them throughout their lives. And it's been a great 2 years, obviously, and youth football in this area. When I was at Smyrna, that league's incredible.
Where I cut my teeth, I love it.
That league's incredible there. There's lots of really good youth programs, in
Mustangs,
Tennessee.
yeah.
And that program's kind of, they don't have as many kids over there now, but they still have a program, I think. And Una's obviously been good. Laverne's building a program. Brentwood has an unbelievable. They have 450 or 500 kids in Brentwood.
Wow.
Franklin has an incredible program that has a bunch of kids too. I think we had 16 teams, and some of those people had like 22 and 24 teams. They have so many kids.
Unbelievable.
So I mean, that's great. Teaching kids to play the game of football, but it's really teaching them the game of life a whole lot more than it is the game of football. As long as parents don't overdo it.
Yeah.
Coaches don't act like they're, Newt Rockney or Bear Bryant, that, because none of us are. I mean, it's about the kids, and as long as we can get the volunteers and youth programs that make it about the kids and don't make it about their playbook they got from Alabama or the playbook they because that's not what it's about. That's not what football's about, period. I mean, yeah, you want to teach them to win, you want to win competition, all those kind of things, but it's really about teaching them things about life. And as long as we can keep the important stuff, then all those youth programs will continue to thrive.
Well, it'd be about fundamentals. Line up and be still on a 2 count and have fun.
Have fun. That's the key. That's the key for us.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in high school, and that's the key for us. The key is having fun. Yeah, we're going to work hard. Every day's not fun. I mean, it's 95 outside. That might not be fun with having a shoulder pad on. But do things that your kids, obviously you work on fundamentals and you work on doing the right things and all that stuff, but have fun. I mean, that's what it's about. And I wish more people would focus on having fun.
Well, let's say something to the fans and wrap it up. Is there anything you want to say to the Blackman fan base, City of Murfreesboro, anything about Friday or?
Yeah, a couple things. Great turnout. First of all, great turnout. We had a great fan support there Friday night, even in the rain and the cold at Oakland. We had great fan support. We've had great fan support. The 5 years I've been here, it's been terrific. Obviously we're going to Maryville. What else would you rather do than drive up the interstate a couple hours and into a great environment? They have a great stadium. I think their city committed like $3 million to upgrade their facility here.
Nice.
2 or 3, 4 years ago, and they got field turf, nice bleachers, all those kind of things. I think it holds 6,000 people maybe, and that's seated 6,000, not counting all the standing room only. So I won't have a problem getting a seat probably. It'll be a huge crowd because it's East Tennessee. They all come watch Maryville play, and I just a lot of times I go to semifinal games. If I'm not playing in one, and it's an opportunity to drive up the road and go to Maryville, and we hope we represent our region like we want to, but we're not too much into representing the region. We're really about Blackman, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
And it's about our kids, our 100 kids. It's about our student body, all those that have been there for us from day one and been there in all our games, supporting us. And we have great fan support, good parent support here, and Friday night will be a special night for Blackman High School.
Let's all load up. I'll be getting out of here at noon myself and taking both tripods as we'll head to Maryville this Friday, and the kickoff is 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, and we'll move out a little bit after lunch, and we'll see everybody at Maryville High School, the Rebels and the Blades.